Hey guys, welcome back. Here's another one of my military surplus handguns. And if you're a subscriber of my channel, you've known by now that I'm fond of military surplus firearms. I love their history and simplicity of design and reliability. And there's just a lot to like about military surplus weapons. This one's really no exception. This is a fine example of German engineering and design. This is very familiar to all of us. This is the Walther P1. This is the post-war model and began production in 1963 and served the West German military from 1963 up into the 90s before it was replaced by the Walther P4. And the Walther P4 is a pistol that I would love to have, but can't seem to get my hands on one. So if anybody knows where there is one to purchase, please let me know, because I'm in the market for one and would love to have one of those. But they are difficult to find. In 2004, regrettably, they discontinued the production of these Walther P1s, and the rest is history. The post-war P1 is a double-action, single-action pistol. It's chambered in a 9x19 millimeter Parabellum, a 9x19 Luger. It accepts a single-stack 8-round magazine in its rather slender grip, pretty slender for a military sidearm. It points real nice. It shoots even better. The sights take a little bit getting used to. They resemble somewhat of a Heine 8 or straight 8 sight, but they really aren't. What you're wanting to do when you look through that sight picture is you want to dot the eye. And it takes a while to get used to shooting this pistol with those sights, but once you do master that, you will find out this is one of the most accurate pistols in your collection. That has been my experience, and I don't, claim to be a professional shooter or even that great of a shot, but this pistol I shoot really well with, but I shot horribly with it when I first got it. So just get adjusted to the sights and it really does work. It has a Duralloy frame, or what a lot of people might just shorten and abbreviate and call aluminum frame. Of course, a steel slide barrel and a locking lug and all that kind of stuff. It has just plain black plastic grips with a little bit of texturing on it, and somewhat of a thumb shelf here. It's got the lanyard loop built into the grip, and it does have the European mag release on the bottom. This particular one was imported by PW Arms in Redmond, Washington, and it is a 1979 model in a looks like maybe a black matte or black oxide finish, and it is all original. It has not been re-arsenaled or anything. Now, the one thing I'll point out, you're going to see this little hex pin right here. It's a steel pin that Walther decided to recall a lot of these pistols and install that pin in these, because what happens is there's a steel locking block, and when the steel locking block comes back on recoil as the slide retracts, what it does is it rubs against this aluminum frame, and what was happening was it was degrading the structure of the aluminum frame. So what would happen is, after so many rounds, I don't think there's a magic number, but 300, 400, 500 rounds or whatever, there were cases of the frames actually cracking and destroying the frames because of that locking block sliding back along aluminum base. Well, so they put this steel pin in here, so what's happening is the steel locking block is coming back and it's contacting the steel pin, as opposed to peening the aluminum frame so badly that it breaks it down and destroys it. So that's something of a history of the post-war Walther P1 that was not an issue with the P38 as much, because the original P38, which is where this pistol got its design, was an all steel frame, so they never had that issue with that. This pistol has been safety checked. There's nothing in the mag well, as you can see, and of course the magazine's laying here empty on the mat. And this just came out of the safe, so you'll have to trust me there. There is nothing in the chamber, but I do want to show you how the decocker on this works. First, of course, your hammer is back, and you're going to decock it. So you lower this lever here, and it drops your hammer, of course, without contacting your firing pin. Push this back up, and it actuates your trigger to the forward position, so your first shot would be a long, smooth double action. Pretty smooth on this pistol, I might add. Once you shoot that first shot, your subsequent shots are going to be single actions, so that's the position of your trigger and the position of your hammer for your subsequent shots. Of course, to do that again, you would just push this down, push that forward, and at this point you'd be ready to holster this weapon and have it ready for use. Which brings up another point. The profile of this pistol is rather wide, especially with the safety on the left side. This is definitely a duty weapon, something that is meant to be holstered on the outside of the pants and not stuck on the inside like an in-the-waistband holster. If you were to do that, you would run into the problem of the safety and the large hammer snagging on clothing if you ever tried to deploy this weapon in a self-defense scenario. So keep that in mind. Now, if you see this little pin, see that pin right there, right above the hammer? That is a round indicator. When there is a round in the chamber, that little pin pops out and protrudes, which is a nice feature of a gun that has a design that is as old as this. Now, that brings up a good point. Let's talk about the history a little bit of the Walther post-war P1/P38. The P38s were designed in 1938, and they were to replace the Walther P8 Lugers, which if you could find one of those, you're going to pay about $1,500–1,600 or more for one of those, because they're definitely collectors. The production of the original Walther, the steel-framed Walther P38s, they were only planning on making them until 1942, but the design was so popular that they used it all through World War II, and the German military actually used the Walther P38 all the way through 1963 before they designed this post-war Walther P1 that you're looking at here. There were no Walther P38s made between, I believe, trying to think here off the top of my head, I think it was 1957. I'm trying to remember. No, I'm sorry. Between 1945 and 1957, there were no Walther P38s produced. So when the German military started using these again in 1957, between 57 and 1963, they were using the leftover World War II Walther P38s. So that goes to show you how reliable these pistols are. They stand up to abuse. They will handle just about anything, because these guns were put through abuse, as you all know, during wartime. And they proved to be a very good sidearm for the military, for the West German military. It is a short recoil lock breech design. The Walther P38 came in at about 28 ounces. This post-war Walther P1 that you're seeing here is a little bit lighter because of its aluminum frame. I think it comes in at about 1.5 pounds, so a little bit less than that Walther P38. Both pistols use the same magazines. You can take this magazine and put it in a 1938 Walther P38 from a wartime if you wanted to, and it would fit the same as it does in the newer designed post-war P1. So that's real nice. And the magazines are not real expensive, and you can find them online still. But that's a little bit of history behind the Walther P38 and this post-war P1. They are fine pistols, and if you can find one for a decent price, I'd say go ahead and pick it up. I have found these pistols ranging anywhere from $375 to $475, and I'd call that a good price. And of course, the importing of these pistols has pretty much dried up. You might find some online retailers that have a few left, but they're going really quickly, and they're just a beautiful weapon, a beautiful shooting weapon, and a nice collectible to have, whether you get the original wartime P38 all steel frame, or you pick up one of these post-war P1s that were used mainly by the German military from the 50s and the 60s. Actually, well, yeah, all the way up through the 90s, actually. Well, that's about all I have on this review. Be looking for a range video, and I'm going to do another video showing you how to break this pistol down. You want to stay tuned for that, because you can see a good view of the lock breech design of the internals of this pistol. And so check back for that. Subscribe, please, and comment and rate this video and some of my other videos. I enjoy doing these for you guys, and I hope to put out some videos that you enjoy seeing. I'll talk to you later.